Hello, everybody. This is Satanism 101, Part 2, with your host, with the most, Brian. I thought I'd continue on with this theme because, after all, Satan is something that is so near and dear to my black heart. I thought I'd expand upon some of the topics that unfortunately had to be omitted from Part 1. So let's get started. Let's start out by explaining that LaVeyan Satanists, true Satanists, are not devil worshippers. We do not believe in Satan or God as being anthropomorphic beings. They are symbols. Nothing more, nothing less. Theistic Satanists I find to be abominable. I mean, basically what they've done is they've taken the dog turd to which is Christendom, all of monotheism, and they've inverted it. They've turned the piece of shit upside down. It's still a piece of shit. That's all I'm saying. They're warped children that still believe in fairy tales. So that's the end of that conversation. LaVeyan Satanists believe in individuality. They have a disdain for the herd because most people do believe in fairy tales. They are delusional or they are self-deceiving. We see ourselves as being better than that. We take pride in being better, being more educated than that. Pride and ego are not necessarily follies. However, they can be. You have to be realistic of who you are. You can't think that you're the best in the world if you're not, because then you will be presented with challenges to which you will fail at miserably. However, you have to have some level of ego and some level of pride to succeed in life. To succeed in the materialistic world to which we all live in. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with the material world. The material, carnal existence. This is real. Spirituality is the illusion. Let's talk more about materialism. Let's talk about sexuality. Another thing that differentiates us from the theists is we have no qualms with unusual sexual behavior and thoughts. We have no problem with taboos. We like to indulge. But let's backtrack for a second and go into indulgence. Indulgence isn't a bad thing. Life is the great indulgence. Death, the great abstinence. However, and let me be clear about this, indulging and overindulging are two entirely different things. The Satanist, the true LaVeyan Satanist, doesn't go out and live a decadent, debaucherous lifestyle 24/7. When you give in to those kind of vices, and there's nothing wrong with them in moderation, but when you give in to them to a certain extent, you can become hooked on them. You can become dependent on them. You can become mentally dependent on anything that really brings you joy. Consume too much television. Video games. There's video game nerds that claim to be addicts. I'm not saying that they're not. You know, there are people addicted to marijuana. There's people addicted to anything. If it brings you joy, you become mentally addicted to it, at least. Now, physically, there might not be any dependence, but that's another issue. So, all things in moderation. You must have control over your own actions, your own thoughts, your own behavior. You must be in control. One of the interesting qualities to LaVeyan Satanism is their magical principles. And there's not a whole lot of supernatural elements in LaVeyan Satanism. However, there is a magical practice. What this involves is going into a mental decompression chamber. It's where you give in to the beliefs that you would, under any other circumstance, any other time in your life, you would rationally dismiss. But you go into this environment, and it's not so much a physical place, it's more of a mental state of mind. And you express these emotions and you release them. It's more like, well, they call it psychodramas. It's more like counseling than anything, from my understanding. It's not a whole lot different than fucking or fighting or letting out your aggression, your passion, your energy in a way that won't exactly hurt anyone else. But there are three kind of spells you can cast in Satanism. You have your lust spell, your vengeance spell. I'm sure neither of those are anything to which you would be surprised about. However, you may be surprised about the third kind of spell that one you can cast, and that is a compassion ritual. Satanism and compassion? What? Yes. Love does exist. Satanists and LaVey himself does not deny that. However, most of the time, when someone says that they're so madly in love, it just means that they're getting their rocks off and they're sexually satisfied, generally speaking. Well, I guess I'll wrap this part 2 up by going back, and I actually have the Thomas Jefferson quote pulled up this time, so I'm not going to butcher it like last time, and I would like to clarify exactly what it says so I can keep some kind of level of credibility. Question with boldness even the existence of God, because if there be one, he must approve of the homage of reason more than that of blindfolded fear. That is the Thomas Jefferson quote that I had from part 1. Well, thank you for your time, and peace!